Welcome to Momentum, a motorsports podcast powered by High Gear SxS. I'm your host, Heather Wilson Schiltz. Here we share the stories and strategies that keep the world of motorsports moving forward. And joining me today is Scott Newby, Yamaha ATV and side-by-side communications manager. So thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
My first question for you is if you ever get to spend any time at home, because I feel like every LinkedIn post that I see from you, you're always on the road. So what's the ratio of getting to be home and spending time on the road?
Yeah, no, I definitely value the time that I have at home with the family as much as possible, but also do my best to stay on the road, stay out of the office, and stay active. And that's the beautiful thing, though, is that the things that I get to do are so much fun, being able to experience those things on the vehicles we have that I don't want to be in the office at all. See, it's the ratio is pretty much anywhere from 50-50 to 75-25 out of the office and in, depending on what the schedule's looking like.
Yeah. And you've been with Yamaha a really long time. So what initially drew you to wanting to work with the company?
Yeah, I've it's almost been 20 years now, but I mean, I've been in the industry all my life. Starting all the way back when I was really young, just racing and riding and everything, and eventually got on board with a dealership. It was just parts and accessories dealership, and I pretty much got there just to be able to afford parts when it came to, trying to continue racing, all that good stuff. And worked at Max's Tires for just a couple of years. And then with that, made some connections. And one of the regional marketing managers out here, he ended up hiring me on to be with Yamaha. And just a great company, great people. And there's nothing better than just having that in any job that you're in, but even more so when you have a brand and a company that you believe in, and everyone's sitting there and kind of having your back there too. It's just like one big family you get to come to the office with every day. So have had many opportunities where people are trying to pull me elsewhere, but it's like, man, you feel like you're turning your back on your family. So yeah, almost 20 years now, still going strong, and let's hope you can ride out for another 20.
I feel like a lot of people get their start in dealerships for the reason that you said. They are riding or racing and they want to get a discount on parts and accessories, and that's an easy way to do it. And then it usually leads into working in other parts of the industry. So I feel like that's a pretty natural progression.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But the funny thing too is, like, I sit back and think about it. It's like I probably would have made more money if I didn't work at a dealership, because literally my entire paycheck went to those parts that I was getting. But when you're a love of the sport too, I mean, it's hard to get away from it.
Yeah. What kind of racing were you doing back then?
It was doing a mix of like the motocross and then hair scrambles like GNCCs and then Citra, the local racers and stuff out here. And it's funny because I started out doing the woods racing, and then one of my buddies at the dealership finally convinced me. It's like, hey man, you ride motocross, like you're done. All you pretty much do is just have to, like, blow off the bike, get the dust off, and then clean out your air filter. You're good to go, as opposed to all the mud and who knows what they have coming back from the GNCCs.
So you were riding bikes at the time.
Yeah, yeah, all two-wheel stuff is what I grew up on, except for like when I was, out with the family and stuff, and we had ATVs and everything to where we'd use it for more like the utility hunt use.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems like you're a very avid outdoorsman. So do you feel like your experiences with that kind of help you in your role with Yamaha and also maybe influence the products and accessories that they come out with?
Well, yeah, it's the best thing that I appreciate about Yamaha, and even just what I do, is that everything that we say and we speak to, like, we're genuine, we're authentic. I'm not making up the fact that I like to ride motorcycles and ATVs and drive side by sides, or that I, enjoy the outdoors, whether it's hunting and fishing and everything in between. I think that's like everyone here internally at Yamaha, we're that same exact way, to where we all have a passion for what it is that we do. So yeah, that wholeheartedly comes into all the products that we make, the Yamaha genuine accessories and everything in between. And it just, I don't know, it conveys better, in my opinion at least, when we're going out there on those hunts or on the media rides and everything, and like we're all just having a good time and enjoying the vehicles and being able to actually practice what we preach and show, yes, all these things that we say when it comes to our vehicles being durable or reliable, so on and so forth, like, they can see it firsthand too.
Yeah, and speaking of practicing what you preach, so I read online that since 2018, Yamaha has hosted a turkey bass smash. That's very difficult to say, three times fast. Turkey bass smash in Texas. So a 2-day event that combines turkey hunting with bass fishing, and you and your teammate were champions for a couple years. So that's not something that most people get to do in their jobs in the day to day. But tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it's so we have our Yamaha Whitetail Diaries TV show as well as Americana Outdoors, and we get to do all sorts of cool things with it. One of it being the Yamaha Turkey Bass Smash that kind of started out from how can we utilize our vehicles off-road, and then also take that onto the water when it comes to our Yamaha outboards and be able to showcase those as well. And so there were a few years we did that. We bring out media, professional anglers, and professional outdoorsmen and women, and just be able to showcase, not only the skills or lack thereof that we have on, on the hunting grounds or even on the water, but even just what our vehicles can do on and off the water as well. And it started out as, having that angling, fishing aspect to it, but then Lake Amstead that we used to fish out on out in Texas, it just the water levels are extremely low and just real harsh conditions. So it didn't really wasn't really conducive to TV. And so this year we ended up switching it over to the Yamaha SMASH, which SMASH now stands for the Supreme Mastery of Adventure, Shooting, and Hunting, and just had a whole slew of different things we were doing between like shooting at targets and going after all sorts of wild game and stuff out in Texas. Because that's the great thing about there is like when you're sitting out there in the blind, you never know what's going to come out in front of you. And so definitely made for a good time, made for a lot of great experiences. And like I said, too, when we can integrate our products and show this the versatility of them as well, it's just kind of like checking all sorts of boxes there.
That's really cool. That's a really cool event. Kind of building off of that too, you guys have an adventure realized with Yamaha series, which showcases outdoor content and Yamaha machines. So tell us about what platforms that's streamed on and some of the places that you've shot content over the years.
Yeah, if you check out Outdoor Action TV, or even just search it on any sort of streaming platform, even looking online, I mean, we have our own little app for it, and it's the Adventure Realized with Yamaha series, and it's very cool because it's one of those deals to where not bragging, but I get to do a lot of cool things. And so it just shows another way that, that we're highlighting the vehicles, doing the things that we're doing, whether it is, these hunts that we're going out on, or even like the media rides, where we get firsthand experience with the media being out there, getting their feedback, being able to share that with everyone too. And just another way that we can kind of showcase those things, but also all the hard work that goes on the back end of a lot of those things, like some behind the scenes stuff as well, and even a lot of cool adventures too. We'll go out to one of our destination Yamaha partners, like out in Alaska, to where we're going out with the media, we're driving the vehicles, riding the vehicles. They can see what it's like out in such a remote location, out in the last frontier. But then the next day we go out on a fishing adventure too, where some of those charter boats, they have the Yamaha outboards on the back, and again, just showing how we're pretty much dominating on and off road, and same thing on and off the water there too, and that's all showcased in the Adventure Realize series as well.
Do you have a favorite destination that you've kind of helped set up or help organize?
That's funny because that's the one thing I discovered in all my travels, that there's so many beautiful areas to go to, that everything is so unique and has its own little kind of cool thing about it. Yeah, I've been to Alaska before. It's so beautiful out there. But then even like when we had our RMAX 1000 press intro right at the 2025 models out in Arizona, I mean, you have a lot of cool aspects about that, even though it's the exact opposite, going from a rainforest to a desert. It's just there's so many cool features, so many cool trails, and a lot of great people to meet along the way. So I mean, I like to pick and choose a lot of little different things, but there is yet to be a place where it's like, this is where I love to go. I can't wait to go back, and would choose this place over anywhere else.
I feel that same way. So I got to do a lot of traveling in my career as well. And like it was easier when you had been less places to like pick a favorite. And like you said, it's like, well, I like Colorado, but also I like Utah, but also I like the state of Washington. And oh, Tennessee's pretty cool too. And yeah, I love West Virginia. So it's like, yeah, it does get harder to pick because they were just such cool experiences and such cool places that I would go back to any of those.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, heck, even just this what was it, 2 weekends ago, I was out at the Snowshoe GNCC out in West Virginia, and raced a Grizzly ATV. It's been a few years before I put in a full race and stuff too, but I just never realized how great and fun the trails are they have out in West Virginia. I've done them before in a side by side, but never in an ATV, and let alone racing it as well. But it's the same thing. It's like you're up on the top of the mountain, so beautiful, so different. Just being able to go out there, race and ride and everything. It's like, man, it's one of those other areas too that you'd never think that there was such a cool spot to go to out in West Virginia.
I feel like that's a pretty grueling race to like randomly pick off the schedule and say that's the one I want to go ride.
Yeah, we're the title sponsor of the Snowshoe GNCC as well as the Ironman GNCC. So definitely two of the most grueling rounds that I have in the entire series. And yeah, it's I still have blisters on my hands, even though I try to stay a little rugged and everything. But yeah, it's when you're going there for 2.5 hours nonstop, as fast and hard as you can, it definitely will wear you down quick. So I give hats off to those guys, to say the least, and give them all the credit for being able to do that stuff just weekend after weekend, day in, day out, and putting it all on the line there.
Yeah, for sure. So, going back to that Adventure Realize series, do you guys primarily take staff out to produce that content? Are you working with influencers or media people to kind of produce that content that's then getting streamed?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of everything. I mean, we have our TV production crew with Careco TV that does the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries and Americana Outdoors, but then even like a few freelance guys we have that they just they know exactly what to get for us, what they like to highlight as well, and so it's really a mix of everything. And it depends on where we go, what we're doing, and who all is available to, because there's definitely a lot of different folks out there that are raising their hands, want to come out to some of the events as well because it's so much fun. But yeah, we even have people internally too that we have to be able to cover things. So it's kind of a mix of people that come out to those deals, and whether it's going to be a media ride or even just like I said, the behind the scenes stuff as well. It's just however we can showcase Yamaha, what we're doing, and I think that kind of speaks to the Adventure Realize. We have our Realize Your Adventure motto, or slogan, if you will, just because with our vehicles, they you define what your adventure is, whether it is a hunt or a ride with the family, or even using it on the farm, or at home on your ranch, what have you. Whatever you define that as being, that's how our vehicles can do it to have you realize your adventures. So we can show you what our adventures are when they're realized, and check it out on Outdoor Action TV.
I feel like that is a huge push in communications. I feel like more recently, over the last several years, is like selling the lifestyle of it. You're not selling a product anymore. You're not just like showcasing this is what it does or this is a cool feature. Like you're really showing people out there using it, enjoying it, having a great time. Like that's what you're selling.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's a beautiful thing too, is that like I said before, we can back it up by saying and showing this is what our vehicles do. That's what we write down on paper, but also being able to go and showcase it in real life as well, and to be able to show, yeah, we practice what we preach. That just that showcases the vehicle, and really just reinforces the things that we're saying. And I used to handle the social media for Yamaha Outdoors, and that was my same belief there as well, to where it's social media, it's not sales media. You feel like more often than not, people are just being like pushy with the sales stuff. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, people aren't going there to be sold to. They want to be able to be influenced by their decisions from influencers, but also showcase the lifestyle, the brand, everything that comes along with the product that you are selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of another segment that you guys have is a Destination Yamaha program that connects people with partners who provide guided tours, rentals, cross country trips using those Yamaha machines. And I just found out about this, and I think that's a super cool partnership that you guys have. So tell us about how that got started and how that's going for all the partners and for Yamaha.
Yeah, it's going phenomenal. It's a program we've had, man. I can't recall how many years. It's definitely been a little while now, but we're expanding partners all across the nation, and it's another way for customers to kind of have a touch point with us. Where there's people that were just interested in, how can I get into, the motorsports industry altogether. Never ridden a side by side or a motorcycle or an ATV before, and they don't want to have that initial upfront cost. So that's a great way to be able to go and do it and actually experience it on the trail to see what it'd be like, as opposed to some testing spot out at a dealership or something, and being able to really kind of see what the vehicles are like in real life. And that was a one way to do it. But also, if customers they want to go to these destination locations that they live on the East Coast or out on the West Coast, never had the chance or even thought of, I can't trailer everything all the way over in my Yamaha. Well, now they just can fly out, experience it all there firsthand. The vehicles are prepped, ready to go for them. And a lot of times too, the partners, they have their own designated trail laid out where it's on the Adventure Pro that's in the Yamaha. They just press play, they follow it on the trails, and just have that good family experience and friendly experience with everyone too. And kind of like that whole concept of how can we get in front of customers, just having them either where they didn't have the opportunity before to go see those places, or even just being able to get behind the wheel of the handlebars of a Yamaha, just be able to afford the opportunity to them.
That's cool. I didn't even think about it being like an opportunity to test drive vehicles. Like I was just thinking about it from an experience perspective if people wanted to go out and like try it out. But like, yeah, if they're looking for a specific model and they want to test drive something, yeah, there's really no experience like actually being able to take it out on the trail or the desert or wherever it is.
100%. That's why I tell dealers in the area, it's like, hey, these guys aren't stealing any sort of profit out of your back pocket. Just keep on sending them over there. It's like, hey, you want to see what it's like to ride a Yamaha? Go check them out. Here's like the information, everything. And that way, obviously, they want to ideally drive sales back to their dealership too and just kind of create that full circle. Because the more we get people out there riding and experiencing the great outdoors and just riding on trails all together, the better off we all are going to be as an industry.
Yeah, and I think partnerships like that are great because everybody's winning in that situation. Like you're all helping each other out. You're not in competition. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going
Also,
well. Like I said,
Yamaha.
we got more and more partners all across the nation, and it's going strong for us. So continue to have that program for here for a while now.
So Yamaha has revamped the RMAX 1000 side by side lineup. What are some of the key highlights, the new features that it has?
Yeah, the RMAX 1000 lineup, it's a recreational side-by-side vehicle, and it's either the 4-seat configuration. One of those new ones is the all-new RMAX 4 1000, which is the 4-seat with the full-size dump bed on it. But then all new features that are carried across the board are all new brake system on it, new suspension settings as well, so it kind of has a more plush ride in all sorts of terrains and speeds. All new on-command four-wheel drive system to where the front differential disengages a lot quicker. It's a lot beefier on the front end as well. We have an all-new turf mode on it too, so you get that one-wheel drive option for the sensitive terrains. I have all new Adventure Pro system on it, all new sound system on it. Definitely a lot of new features all the way across the board. Even our limited edition, you have the TFT meter that's on the dash and a rear view camera equipped on it as well, and a lot of great new features that customers have been asking for the last few months here when we had the RMAX 1000 lineup, and great to finally be able to get those in front of them, have customers experiencing it.
Yeah, being a dirt bike girl myself, I haven't experienced side by sides very much. I've ridden in some from time to time, but when I see them and I see like all the features and just like you said, sound systems, cameras, GPS, like all this stuff. I'm like, man, I don't have any of that on my dirt bike. Like, I'm lucky if I can get my action camera to work or follow a
Right.
GPS. Like, I'm still like an old school route sheet person, so like trying to follow a GPS is still a mystery to me.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of creature comforts that people want to have in the side by sides and just get them, get them in there across the board. And it's always that delicate balance too of what customers want, and even just like what the like kind of that justification on price, because as more features come along, the price just gets higher and higher too. So we want to find that perfect balance to where it's still an affordable industry to be able to go out and ride and enjoy things with their family. But I think with the versatility of the Yamaha lineup too, that's where it kind of helps that response or that answer altogether. It's like, yeah, we can go out and use this thing with the family, but also if we need to use it for anything around the house, around the farm, it's like it has that same utility aspect to it as well.
Do you think that side by sides have opened up a new way for people to get involved in motorized recreation that otherwise wouldn't? Because, like, having a four seater, you can take your family out. There's not a huge learning curve and balancing or using a clutch like you would on a dirt bike. So, do you feel like that's really opened up a new avenue for people that want to get outside?
Oh yeah, no question about it. I think especially in today's day and age too, to where so many people they're stuck in that digital world, and like we saw it during COVID, to where all of a sudden people had to or like really wanted to go outside and do things, and our vehicles were one of the best ways to be able to do that. And when they can have those great experiences, like wow, this is way more than ever expected it to be. And even like when you see some of those social influencers, like all they do for a living now is just go out and travel and show all those those cool places you can go to. It's like that's what our vehicles can do for you day in, day out, every single weekend. And so, yeah, the more that we see that new generation or even just like new customers coming in, the more we want to be able to provide those experiences for them and having the great vehicles along the way. So definitely expanding the market, and I'm glad because I definitely want to see as many people as possible out there having fun and just enjoying life altogether.
So we've got the machines. Now, kind of the other piece of that is having the land and the access to be able to use them, right? So I'm a huge fan of improving outdoor recreation access, and Yamaha has a program that provides grants. to protect, expand, and maintain that access and safe and responsible motorized use. So, can you tell us about that Outdoor Access Initiative?
Yes, we have our Yamaha Outdoor Access Initiative. It's a program that's been around for over 15 years now. We've infused over $7 million back in our nation's grants, or back in our nation's lands. With I think we're upwards of almost 600 grants now nationwide. But it really is all about providing that safe, sustainable access to our nation's lands and our nation's trails, and that's not just for recreational motorized use, but anyone, whether you're hiking, biking, horseback riding, snowmobiling, kind of everything in between, to where we want to make sure that people can get out, they can recreate, they can have a good time, and just that's going to be for generations to come. So have that program, and if you check it out at YamahaOAI.com, it's a great way to be able to make sure that the local riding trails around you, all the public lands around you, are going to be open, safe, and sustainable for decades to come.
Yeah, and with that, I know I've looked into that project before. You do need to be a part of a nonprofit in order to receive those grants. So that was kind of like the first stipulation that I saw with that. And I'm actually sitting on a new nonprofit here in Ohio, so maybe we'll be able to apply for some of that in the future. But what types of projects
Yeah,
have you seen completed that have really moved the needle forward?
it's what I appreciate are the ones where it is those local ones that people have been trying for a long time, where they had like just there's a fish bearing stream that they need to build a bridge over to access hundreds and hundreds of more acres. Where we can just do that with just something as simple as that. It offers those increased trail areas for them. And even though we do have it to where there's that nonprofit requirement, we like to have all sorts of ways to where we try to get creative, if you will, but make sure that, yeah, if there are lands or areas that are threatened by whatever that it is, give us a call, shoot us an email. We want to make sure that, a lot of times we can even just help out where there's a nonprofit organization that might be local that can help out with that manpower, what have you, that we'll figure out all sorts of ways to make sure that that things can get taken care of.
Yeah, very cool. And I know I think the website has a bunch of different write-ups on some of the projects that have been featured over the years as well that people can check out.
Yeah, and one of the big things we've been doing here lately, as well as working with All Kids Bike, and that's where that's the balance bikes, like the Strider bikes, and we go into elementary schools and be able to provide them like a full kit to where they're getting off those digital devices, they get outdoors, they get active. It's part of their physical education program that they have in kindergarten, and it's so cool to see that, to where you know who knows if they're going to be the next famous motocross, supercross rider at all, but just the fact that they're being, putting their energy to use when it comes to being outdoors and on those bikes, and not stuck on the tablets or anything like that. It's always fun to see, being able to give them those bikes and just have their eyes light up and go running around and everything. So that's another cool thing about the Yamaha Outdoor Access Initiative, is even goes beyond the lands, but also just getting everyone out enthusiastic about riding.
And another great partnership where those industries are helping each other as well. Because if, you know, first step to riding a motorcycle is usually riding a bicycle. So if you can get the kids started on riding a bicycle, of course, it's great to just be outside and enjoy a bicycle. But like you said, it could lead into the next motocross star or something beyond. And I feel like that was kind of a missing link for a lot of years in motorcycling. And now they've kind of realized, like, hey, we do need to partner with the bicycle industry and starting the kids young. And also, like, you know, with the rise of e-bikes, that's kind of, you know, a gray area, I guess you could say. There's a lot of things to work out there, but there's a lot of cross-disciplinary stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's what's great about with us teaming up with All Kids Bike, is it really all surrounds around safety too. To where you want to have your helmet on. All the kits we have helmets. They have knee guards, handle guards, like all that good stuff. And so they always think about, okay, I want to go out to ride, I got to make sure I have all my safety equipment on, because you still want to have fun, but do it in a smart, safe way.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when it comes to racing, Yamaha is really the only company still producing sport ATVs. So why do you think Yamaha has continued to produce these when so many other companies have seemed to abandon race-built machines?
Yeah, I mean, for us, sport ATVs, I mean, they've been a backbone of our company for decades, to say the least. And like Raptor 700, I think for the model year 2026, it'll be, if you go back to the 660, it'll be 25 years. But then with the Raptor 700, it'll be 20 years. But yeah, we've had that legacy and heritage for a while now, and it's definitely not something we're looking at stopping or anything like that. I think maybe other manufacturers thought that sport ATVs are going away. I mean, I can't really complain because we're selling every last one, can't build enough of them. And definitely shout out to the guys down at their factory in Georgia, because they continue to pump those things out year after year, and that's for the world. And just knowing what sport ATVs do to the industry, I mean, that is also a stepping stone for people to, eventually graduate to potentially side by sides and everything on top of that as well. So yeah, we're going to keep on producing them as long as we possibly can, and they're fun and they're great vehicles to be able to go out and have fun on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I write race reports for a client of mine that's in the ATV motocross national championship. And yeah, there's not a lot of manufacturer diversity in that anymore because there just really aren't options for people. So it's a good thing for Yamaha.
I know. Yeah, we can't complain. Not that I'm not gonna lie though. I wouldn't mind seeing someone else kind of come into it and increase the competition just to be able to kind of keep that innovation, and everything going. But in the meantime, we'll ride the wave while we can and watch Hetrick just have a dominating series the last 2 years here and continue to kind of sweep titles and sweep podiums and everything, and have a great time with it and enjoy it along the way.
Backing up a little bit, how did you find your love of communication? So obviously you had the outdoorsman background, you loved the industry, but how did you kind of bring your skills of communications into that?
I just kind of fell into it really. So when I was a district manager of the Yamaha, I was like trying to figure out the ways to be able to connect dealers with customers. Like what's the angle? What's the secret sauce we can figure out just for their local area, and just kind of help them with the marketing aspect of it. And then oddly enough, there was it was like a public relations like entry level position that was open at Yamaha for a long time. And so I just hit up now our president Mike Martinez, like, hey, see this the position's been open. I feel like I'd be great for it. And eventually talked to my now boss, and he's like, yeah, the problem they were having with it is that they couldn't find someone that both knew how to ride and that was an outdoorsman as well, just because of the product lineup that we had at the time. And so I just kind of raised my hand and put my name in the hat. And I think just that question, or that desire to always figure out, how can I reach more people and how can we do better with what we're doing, just kind of I don't know, it reluctantly fell into being able to have this communications position. And I will say though, that it didn't come naturally. I'm not even saying I'm doing a good job here too, but being on all the TV shows and having to talk about everything that we do, and just the branding and talking about our vehicles, I mean, it came with a lot of failure and it came with a lot of practice. Because if you go to my earlier days when I would go to like the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, and I try to talk to those guys and figure out, their world while when talking about our new vehicles. It was failure after failure. So, I feel like I've improved a little bit since then, but that's kind of how it all happened.
Yeah, well, I think you've got it figured out now. And I think just when we think we have it figured out, though, then media starts changing drastically again, and we have to figure it out all over again. So there's a lot to keep up with.
No question, but that's what also makes it fun and exciting too. And as fast as things change these days, it's like right when you do think that you may even like start to get ahead, you realize like, no, you are way behind in comparison to everything else. So I appreciate that. I like that, but yeah, keeps me busy, keeps me employed, and can't complain about that.
Do you have a team that you work with, or are you just kind of the ATV and side by side guy, and then there are other divisions?
Yeah, pretty much fly solo internally, but we have an agency that helps us out tremendously with a lot of that stuff. And like I said, we all work together as a team. So I have like our testing team and our parts accessories team, to where we're always scheming up stuff and talking about, okay, yeah, what are our goals? Where are we going to? Making sure that we're achieving all these different things and doing it all together. So even though it's as it relates to ATV side by side on the communications end, it's kind of just me. It's like we're still all one big family that works together, and we want to make sure that we get the job done right. We do a great job with it. So it's definitely a whole slew of people behind me. I'm just like the mere tip of the iceberg, and everyone else is kind of helping out along the way.
So with Yamaha's headquarters being in Georgia now, did you grow up in Georgia, or did you kind of move as Yamaha moved?
So I moved all around when I was younger with my family, but then I think in like the mid '90s we ended up moving to Georgia, and oddly enough, that's when I got hired on with Yamaha. But then they moved me out to Kentucky, so I covered Kentucky, surrounding states there for a few years, and then after that, they transferred me up to Western Pennsylvania. So I was up there for about 2 years after that. And then once I came into this position, they moved me back down to Georgia, which is cool with me because I kind of consider Georgia my home out of all the places that I've lived. So it was a weird kind of turn of events, but worked out for the better.
Yeah, yeah. So what are your plans for the rest of the year? Do you have any more racing coming up for yourself? Do you have a lot of, media shoots planned for Yamaha? What's kind of the game plan for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it's definitely a full calendar, like you were saying there earlier, but that's how I like it to be. I do plan on racing the Ironman GNCC once again, and hopefully a couple more rounds there too, just with the Grizzly build and everything that we're doing. And beyond that, I mean, we'll be doing a photo shoot with G3 Boats here coming up, which is one of our sister companies, or one of our other companies we have there too. And definitely plenty of media events, a lot more adventure rides. So hopefully be able to showcase that all on Adventure Realize with Yamaha here soon. And yeah, I mean, any way that I can keep myself busy and showing off product, then I'll definitely be there one way or another.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. And so let's tell people where they can connect with you or connect with the Yamaha brand or some of the projects that we talked about on today's call.
Yeah, best thing for Yamaha, you can go to yamahamotorsports.com. When it comes to me personally, pretty much just anywhere on social media, Scott Newby, you can find me there. But otherwise, best place to go for any sort of product in Yamaha, yamahamotorsports.com, or even if you want to learn more about Yamaha Outdoor Access Initiative, that'll be yamahaoai.com.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Momentum. This has been a production of High Gear SxS. And if you want to connect or recommend a guest, head to momentummotorsportspodcast.com. Until next time, keep the momentum rolling.